Test recording. How do I look? I look like shit. And that's okay. Since its inception at the E-League Major in Atlanta in 2017, the Swiss group stage has been incorporated in one thing of Counter-Strike's legacies: the winners and the losers. And today I want to focus on one aspect about these CS majors, and that being the ever so hard to guess 0-3 pick. Typically, by definition, it is reserved for the teams with the lowest expectations and those who snuck their way into the biggest events of the year. But each year, one new team always begins to surprise us in what they'll have to do when the pressure is the highest and the expectations for them to win are based on a coin. For the criteria of expected, that team was a very low ranking compared to the rest of the playing field. For deserved, that team got upset in almost every single game, and they were always a higher rank than the team that they lost to. Or they lost in the very crucial 0-2 game. Or alternatively, if I don't like that organization, I'll try to be as unbiased as I can though, just for y'all. Let's go and start from the very beginning, back in Atlanta, back when the Swiss stage was actually introduced. In Atlanta, every single game was only one stage of 16 teams, and every single game was best of one. That's right, even of the 0-2 games and the 2-0 games. For the first ever team to lose 0-3 in the Swiss was Hellraisers. They were ranked number 18 at the time, and they lost to teams such as SK, who were number 3, 16-7, Mouse Sports, number 12, 16-7, and North, number 6, 19-15. They averaged around 9.6 rounds per game in the major, and honestly, their outcome, they were kind of expected to lose. Flipside was the second ever team to be 0-3, with a ranking of number 19 at the time, with losses to FaZe, number 7, 16-9, Team Liquid were number 17, and they lost 16-14, Optic were number 2, and they lost 16-13. With an average of about 12 rounds per game, that's not bad at all, to be honest. But the outcome, they were kind of expected to lose, but they did make it a good effort to keep fighting forward. For PGL Krakow, the format remained exactly about the same. The highest team ever to be eliminated from the major comes from FaZe Clan. With a ranking of number 2 in the world, they lost to Big, who at the time were kind of abusing an exploit on Inferno to gain information without the other team knowing. Number 17, 16-8. Mouse Sports, who were number 12, 19-15, and Flipside, yes, Flipside, number 25 in the world, 16-10. And the outcome of this, they fully deserve to lose, because you lost to teams well below the top 10. They average about 11 rounds per map. The second team to be eliminated from PGL Krakow was Vega Squadron, who were ranked about number 24 at the time, and then lost to about VP, who were number 15, and were kind of towards the tail end of their life cycle at 16-2, and Immortals, who were number 11, who were also made the major finals, number 11, 16-6, and Penta, number 21 in the world, 16-14. They almost had it in the end. You almost beat Penta, who had HS and Innocent, but in the end, it was a losing game the entire time. And the outcome, they expected to lose people that were better than them, so straight up. They averaged about 7.3 rounds per game. Eleague Boston, we are now making big baller introductions into the better parts of Counter-Strike. When I say better parts of Counter-Strike, I mean more teams. You know what that means? More 0-3s. They expanded from about 16 teams to 24. First team to be taken out of this stage was Flash Gaming, who were ranked number 61 at the time, and the first team from Asia to ever be eliminated 0-3 at the major. So congratulations, milestones. And they lost to G2, who were number 7. They lost to Quantum Bellator Fire, who were number 60 at the time, 16-13. And then they lost to Envy, who were number 15, from 16-13. Outcome, it was semi-expected, but it's very unfortunate at the same time as well. They had double digits in each game, and it was pretty close for the most part. And their average rounds were about 12.3 rounds per. The next team was Flipside, who at the time didn't even have a rank. I'm serious. They didn't have a rank. I checked HLTV and some comments before this on HLTV, and they said the exact same thing. They had no rank. The reason why they made this so far into the major was because of their previous tournament, PGL Krakow, and making playoffs. At the time, if you made playoffs in a major, you were guaranteed a free spot in the biggest stage. So, very interesting how that played out. And that would later change on Counter-Strike's lifestyle and life cycle. They lost to Misfits, who were number 13 at the time, 16-4. Liquid, who were number 17, 16-10. And they had lost to Avantgarde, who were number 37, 16-7. They had an average of around 7 rounds per map, and then honestly, the outcome, The bar was set pretty low for them to pull off any upset. It was kind of expected. And now we make it on to the Legends stage. The first team to be eliminated from this stage was North. Ranked number 10 at the time, they lost to Vega Squadron, number 19, 16-10. Astralis, who were number 3, 16-14. And Big, number 24, 16-12. That's right. Very, very close games, but also very disappointing at the same time. Their outcome, they deserved it. They almost beat Astralis, but tumbled into dust at the end, losing to Big of all people, averaging around 12 rounds per match. The second team to be eliminated from the major was Virtus Pro. Damn. Ranked number 9 at the time, this was towards the tail of the dynasty, and it was time for that bridge to be crossed. They lost to Quantum Bellator Fire, who were number 25, 16-3. Fnatic, who were number 8 at the time, number 16-6. And major winners, Cloud9, number 5, 16-7. Outcome, expected-ish, because you did get beaten to death by Quantum Bellator Fire, but you also lost to Fnatic in the major winners. So it was kind of a, hindsight is a bit expected. But it doesn't change the sadness anyways. They averaged around 5 rounds per map. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. Now we move on to the FACEIT Major in 2018, which now introduced, fun fact, 2-2 games had all BO3s. Not 0-2 games though, so we're still on best of 1s only. Challenger stage had Space Soldiers go out 0-3, and they were ranked number 31 at the time, and had lost to Rogue, who were 30th in the world, 16-10. Complexity number 29, 16-11, and the Renegades number 16, 19-15. Outcome, expected, but it would not mean the end of Turkish Counter-Strike. They had an average about 12 rounds per. Once again, Virtus Pro make the list. But this time, with a brand new roster. They were ranked number 20 at the time, and they had lost to NIP number 8, 16-15, Optic 16-13, and then North number 4, 16-6. Outcome, expected. They averaged around 8 rounds. For the Legend stage, the first team to go out was Windstrike. That who was the ex-Quantum Bellator Fire lineup, as they had made playoffs in Boston, they were able to go straight into Legend stage. Ranked number 54 at the time, they suffered losses to Liquid, who were number 3, 16-7, Fnatic, who were number 10, 16-7, Cloud9, number 22, 19-16. Outcome, fully expected. Quantum Bellator Fire was long behind them, and their highs were pretty much in the ground. They averaged about 10 rounds per map. The next team was Mousesports, who were ranked number 5 at the time and were looking to be a solid contender for playoffs, though they bombed out 0-3 with losses to NIP 16-12, MIBR 16-6, and FaZe Clan 16-8. Outcome, deserved. They averaged about 8 rounds per map. And now we move on to a regular schedule of Counter-Strike that we know today, with Katowice 2019 introducing these standard formats for games, which now included best of 3s in the 2-0, 2-1, 1-2, and 0-2 games. The first team to undergo this change was Greyhound, unfortunately, who were ranked at the time number 22 and had lost to Cloud9, number 8, 16-11, Vitality, number 15, 19-17, and Fnatic, number 6, 16-9 to 16-11. Outcome, expected, but heartbreaking. They had a few close games, and they almost beat Zywoo with Dick Stacy, so I'm just putting it out there. Their average rounds came out to about 12 rounds per map. The next team to bomb out was Team Spirit, who were ranked number 17 at the time and had lost to ENCE, number 11, 16-10, Vega Squadron, number 53, 16-14, and Furia, number 23, 16-9 to 16-14. Outcome, it was semi-deserved. You lost to Vega Squadron, but at least they weren't like swinging the whole time. They almost had that shit. They averaged about 11.7 rounds per minute. In the Legends stage, the next team to be taken out back was Big, who were ranked number 15 at the time, as they went out to Vitality, number 12, because of the increase in rank and stuff, 16-14, and it was 16-11. G2, who were number 18, at 16-13, and ENCE, number 9, 5-16, which, to establish, this is the first time that a team that went 0-2 took a map off of one of their opponents. So congratulations, Big. And 16-14 and 16-10. Outcome, they had some close games, but they weren't able to take any victories, and so it was kind of semi-expected. They had an average of about 13.2 rounds per map. Next is NRG, who right now have the closest losing resume out of everybody we've named. Ranked number 7, underwent losses to NIP number 6, 16-14, Avant-Garde number 17, 16-13, and Complexity number 29, 22-19, and 19-16. Ooh. With an average of about 15.5 round wins per map, which is insanely unfortunate and sad. But the outcome, you kind of deserved to lose. But at the same time, they also really did make a good argument for why they should have won. So, Starladder Berlin 2019. The first team to be taken out back was 0-3. Well, yes. The first team to be eliminated 0-3 was the INT Esports Club, who were ranked number 31 at the time and had lost to North number 13, 16-5, Vitality, who are now number 2 in the world, 16-9, and Greyhound, number 22, 16-5, 14-16, and 16-7. Outcome expected. There really wasn't much to work with, and they went 0-3, with an average of about 10 rounds per map. Tyloo were up next with a ranking of number 28, and had suffered losses to G2, who were number 8, 16-10, NRG were number 6, 16-7, and Complexity, number 26, 22-20, and 16-2. A bit rough, they faced G2 and NRG at the same time, but also shit happens. Outcome expected. They had about an average of 9 points. Inside the Legend stage, which was now the Dream Eaters lineup, which nobody remembers because they went 0-3. They were ranked number 20 at the time and then went out to the major winning Astralis team, number 4, 16-9, Navi, number 6, 16-7, and the Renegades, my favorite team, Ilias, number 16, 16-10, and 16-8. Fork found in kitchen. With an average of about a smooth 7. Outcome expected. NIP unfortunately made the list again, ranked number 14 as is towards the end of the Get Right and Forest era, going out 0-3. They faced MIBR, who are at number 12, 16-12, the Crazy Esports team with Hunter and Nexa, number 13, 16-10, North, number 11, 16-8, and 16-4. Fly high. With an average of about 8.5 rounds. Outcome expected. And now we enter PGL Stockholm 2021. Keep in mind, I started watching Pro CS back in 2019, but I really became hooked in 2020 at IEM New York 2020 OG versus FaZe Clan Grand Final, and they're also my first ever pick'ems, so this is when I started getting into Pro Counter-Strike. The first team to go out was Godsend, who were ranked number 23 at the time, and they had gotten beaten to death with Rocks by ENTS, number 10, 16-10, Spirit, number 20, 16-12, Astralis, number 8, 16-3, and 16-11. They had an average of about 9 rounds per map. And fun fact, their IGL was Taco. And for some reason, almost everybody that played under Fallen in the SK and Luminosity became IGLs. Outcome expected. The next team was Sharks, who were number 53 at the time, who had lost to Mouse, number 16, 16-6, Tyloo, number 56, 16-14, Pain, who were number 34, 16-19, and 22-20, and 16-4. Honestly, Sharks were just not meant to be here, and when I say that, they played shit games against real teams, mainly because they were my 0-3 pick as well, so they had an average about 12.6 rounds per map. In the Legend stage, EG were next up, and were absolute favorites to go out 0-3. They were just in a mix at the time of, I think, Michu, Obo, Stanislaw, Breeze, and Cirque. That team was dead as fuck, and it was doomed to fail. And it was just that. Ranked number 35, they took losses to FaZe Clan, number 6, 16-6, Copenhagen Flames, number 10, 16-2, Vitality, number 3, 13-16, 16-5, and 16-12. Outcome, very much expected. People actually thanked them for going out 0-3. They had about an average of about 8.2 rounds per map. Next up was ENTS, but this time exploring an international lineup. Now ranked number 7 at the time, with solid results beforehand. They went out with losses to Gambit, number 4, 16-7, Liquid, number 13, 16-8, Mouse, number 15, 16-6, and 16-7, or 16-10. Outcome, deserved. They were just like getting better as a team, so just gonna give them another major cycle and they do fine. They average about 7.7 rounds per map. And now PGL Major Antwerp. Am I right, fellas? The best major of all time. Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking. It's definitely up there though. The first team to go out was major debutants 9Z, who ranked number 29 at the time and had lost to ENCE number 3, 16-7, MIBR number 25, 16-14, and Team Liquid number 13, 16-11 twice. Outcome expected, but they also did put up a pretty solid fight, I can't lie, with a round average of 10.7 rounds per map. Renegades, unfortunately, my beautiful King Liaz has now gone 0-3 at a major. Renegades were ranked number 48 at the time and had lost to Forza number 22, 16-9 from Eternal Fire, who were number 30 at the time, and IHC, who had Blitz and Techno, 16-10 and 16-12. Outcome sadly expected for most people, but myself, I knew not to choose them 0-3. You know, my heart spoke for me. They went out on average with 8.2 rounds. Inside the Legend stage, another painful loss appeared. Team Liquid, in their tenured history, had never gone 0-3 in a major before this. But ranked number 12, with Shocks playing as well, went out to teams like Heroic number 6-11, Furia number 11, 16-9, and Vitality number 8, 16-7, and 16-11. Outcome expected considering who they faced. They had an average of about 9.5 rounds per. Next up was also major debutants, Bad News Eagles, ranked number 20 at the time, had crashed into a tree and fell over. Their opponents were Copenhagen Flames, number 15, 16-14, major winners, FaZe Clan, number 1, 16-4, and Imperial, number 18, 16-13, and 16-14. Outcome, as expected, he lost to FaZe, who won the whole thing. Did it still sting? Yeah. They had an average about 11.2 rounds per map. Next up, arguably the worst major in history, IEM Rio 2022. Bright side, they had crowds for all 2 stages. That's pretty nice. A combined effort was made by Brazilian team for the major. And what was that? To go 0-3. Imperial ranked number 18 at the time, who lost to number 2 Vitality, 16-9, 9Z number 28, 16-11, Cloud9 number 5, 19-15, and 22-19, with an average about 13 rounds per map. Who was on the team? Fallen and Fur. 0-0 Nation, ranked number 27th at the time, lost to Bad News Eagles, who were number 23, 16-3, Fury, who were number 10, 16-6, and IHC, once again, makes their return, 14-16, 16-9, and 16-9, with an average of about 11.4 rounds per map. Who was on that team? Taco and Coldzera. The question for both of them was it expected or was it deserved? For both teams, it was kind of expected in some capacity. For the Legend stage, once again, FaZe Clan make the biggest disappointment of all time. Ranked number 2, went out 0-3 at the major. They lost to Cloud9 number 5, 16-14, Vitality number 1, 16-6, and Bad News Eagles number 17, 16-9, 16-8, and 20-22. I watched this happen in real time. It was just how shocked at how bad they were. Losing to B&E, who had really seen tier 1 competition leading up to the major, had about an average of about 13.4, and the outcome? Fully deserved. NIP also make this list, with an international roster held by Alexi B, and what the fuck happened? They were ranked number 13 at the time and had gone through the RMR convincingly, 3-0. With losses to Fnatic, who were number 16 at the time, 16-13, major winners Outsiders number 6, 16-12, and then Sprout number 26, 16-11, and 16-14. Outcome? Deserved-ish. Their round average was about 12.5. Next up is the Paris Major, with my favorite British player of all time, Cypher, entering the competition. Fluxo entered the Counter-Strike scene and were beaten to death by Pain, number 18, 16-2, Monty, number 22, 16-8, Liquid, number 7, 11-16, 16-14, and 16-13. Thanks for showing up. They are ranked number 38, and they had about an average of about 10.6 rounds per map. Outcome? Expected. Mouse Sports returned, am I right, fellas? But this time as Mouse instead of Mouse Sports. How fancy. They were ranked number 12 at the time and had losses to NIP, number 14, 16-9, OG, number 11, back when they were good, 16-11, and major finalists who had almost forfeited the entire event, Gamer Legion, number 31, 16-12, and 16-5. They had around average about 9.2. Outcome, deserved. You lost to your new IGLs. You lost to your new girl Shuhei. That's kind of crazy. Legends also introduced stage debutants, 9, who went 3-0 in Legends and got passed around, who had lost to Liquid, number 7, 16-9, Gamer Legion, number 22, 16-13, and FaZe Clan, number 3, 16-10, and 16-8. Nice try. There's always next major. They were ranked number 18 and had an average about 10 rounds per map. Outcome, disappointing. Just for that, roll the clip.
This smoke makes things more complicated. It's a 4 defuse. A flashbang goes through, but he's timed it so well. Oh, no!
Next in line is Furia, unfortunately, and they had ranked number 9 at the time and had lost to Monty, number 13, 16-7, NIP, number 10, 16-8, and G2, number 6, 16-8, and 16-7. With an average about 7.3 rounds per map, the outcome, deserved. You fucking couldn't get more than 10 rounds? I love Furia. PGL Copenhagen 2024, the first major of CS2. However, with CS2, that does mean the score lines are going to be different. And just for that, I'll probably keep them separate as a result, as it is very unfair to calculate a map with 3 more maps or 3 more rounds than one with 3 less, you know? But both teams that went 0-3 also attended their first ever major, and their last. AMCAL and Koi got dealt with and were going 0-3 at the major, though AMCAL's sacrifice won't be forgotten at all. AMCAL were ranked number 32 at the time and lost to Gamer Legion, who were number 15, who weren't supposed to even be there. Apex, number 14, 16-3, or 16-13. Mongols, number 20, 13-2, 8-13, and 13-10. Outcome, fully deserved loss. What are we doing? An average about 9.2 rounds per map. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. Koi were next on the chopping block with an average of with a ranking of number 27 at the time and had no expectations of doing much at the major. With defeats to Saw, number 17, 13-4, ENCE, number 10, 16-12, and Furia, number 16, 13-6, and 13-9. Outcome, expected. They averaged about 7.7 rounds. The Legend stage. The Mongols, after years of being the 0-3 pick for people that were blind, finally gave in to the wishes that people would go 0-3. Ranked number 18, they lost to major winners Navi, number 6, 13-10, Vitality, number 3, 13-9, and had lost to Pain, number 20, 9-13, 13-10, and 22-19. Outcome, every single game was close and they had actually fought for it, with a round average of 12.2 rounds per map. Damn. Furia once again entered the fray with losses to G2, number 5, 13-3, FaZe Clan, number 1, 13-7, and Ecstatic, number 21, 13-7, 14-16, and 13-6. They are ranked number 23 and had signed Fallen as an opper, not an IGL, and Cello. Outcome, semi-deserved. It's Cello. That boy is some ass. An average of 8 rounds. Perfect World Shanghai. Fun fact, I actually watched every single RMR game that I could when it was live, and I live in NA East. This was during college finals. Holy shit. Imperial returned again, ranked number 26, and showed up just to bomb out. I think this major they barely slipped in and did nothing with their chance. With an American-themed humiliation ritual, with losses to Pain, who were number 15 at the time, 13-5, Furia, who were number 8 at the time, 13-11, and Complexity, number 14, 13-4, and 13-5. They were expected to lose. With an average of about 6.2 rounds per map, it wasn't even close. Fnatic once again returned to the majors since last Paris 2023, and once again accomplished nothing. Even though losing to home crowd heroes, ranked number 28, they lost to Wildcard, number 22, 13-11, Cloud9, number 31, 13-5, and Rare Atom, number 38.
Crims must hold on to this tournament for Fnatic, or Rare Atom eliminate them in an embarrassing third map.
Now's the time for Crims. Can he stop the wash of Rare Atom? Summers dodged him. Crims doesn't know where to look. So much time ticked off this bomb already, and Rare Atom in a legendary moment.
Honestly, it was a losing effort all the way, and I feel bad for just blame F. With a round average about 8.6, the outcome was deserved, and they lost to Rare Atom, who would do nothing with the win over them. Legend Stage was no different, as Wildcard faced a trial by fire with losses to FaZe Clan number 6, Major winners Spirit number 4, 13-6, and Gamer Legion number 19 with 10-13, 13-10, and 13-5. Ranked number 21 at the time, they had an average of about 8.8 rounds per map. And honestly, you fought the flawless of the Major and a Gamer Legion with a flawless. Big, after coming back to the Major since Rio, accomplished nothing. They went 0-3 after losses to Heroic number 8, 13-7, G2 number 1, 13-5, and Pain number 14, 10-13, 13-11, and 6-13. Ranked number 17, they had an average of 8.4 rounds. What else is there to really say? The Austin Major is now here, this time with 3 stages, and now we're at 32 teams. Fluxa show up again like a super senior, ranked number 45 with losses to FlyQuest number 22, 13-7, Complexity number 13-9, and Chinggis Warriors 13-7, 10-13, 13-11, and 13-2. They had an average of about 10.5 rounds per map, and were once again one of the popular picks for 0-3. Outcome? Expected. Metasport debuted on this list with a ranking number 55 and did nothing, with losses to Wildcard number 24, 13-1, Tyloo number 25, 13-4, and Imperial number 39, 16-13, 13-2. With a round average of 5 rounds per map, that is depressing, and they fully deserved and they were expected to win. Stage 2, OG were ranked number 30 coming into the event, and honestly, they had a roughish go of things, losing to Virtus Pro number 13, 13-2, M80 number 31, 16-13, and Falcons number 4, 13-11, 10-13, and 6-13, garnering an average of about 8.8 rounds per map and taking the mail of a Stage 2 0-3 pick. Outcome, expected, but nice try for almost taking off Falcons. BetBoom, ranked number 28, coming around to the Major for the first time, to get eliminated from Major contention after taking L's from 3D Max number 16, 13-4, Heroic number 12, 13-9, MIBR number 17, 13-11, and 13-11. What a strange list, but it happens, taking an average of about 8.7 rounds per map on average. An outcome expected, but it only gets better from here. Team Liquid collapsed onto this script once again, this time ranked number 13 in the world, and mind you, they had JKS. How does this even happen? Shitting the bed against Lin Vision number 22, 13-5, the Mongols number 5, 13-7, and Mouse number 2, 13-8, 4-13, and 22-19. With a rare life game from Ultimate to even get into overtime. With an average run of 10.4 rounds per map, they had an outcome that was fully deserved. During Lin Vision's deep tournament run, but a 13-5 is crazy work. Along with Mouse shitting the bed, is a hard draw, but it was kind of expected you would lose. 1 year's loud annoying ass makes his way onto the list with Namiga, ranked number 24, losing to Navi number 7, 13-7, and Major Winners Vitality number 1, 13-6, and Pain number 19, 8-13, 13-8, and 13-7. With an okay 8.2 average rounds per map. This would end Zway's run with Namiga and start his career into Tier 1 with Spirit and Paravision. Starladder Budapest. Lin Vision went from Stage 3 GOATs and Falcon beaters to mediocre within the span of 6 months. Ranked number 22, they took L's from FaZe Clan 13-5, NIP number 32, 13-2, and the Huns number 68, 13-8, and 13-7. Which, you lost to the Huns of all people. It's kind of insane how they just lost. With a disheartening 5.5 round average rounds per map, they entered into the lower side of the lost. Outcome, they fully expected to lose these two, but they barely put up a fight against the Hun. Rare Atom also makes this list, ranked number 45, and didn't accomplish anything with their time. Taking no wins over Imperial, number 42, 13-11, Legacy number 14, 13-6, and Gamer Legion number 17, 13-7, 13-5. There isn't really much to talk about them, they just kind of showed up, averaging around 10.2. Stage 2, FlyQuest were number 30 in the world, and they lost to Navi, number 7, 13-2. 3D Max, number 13, 13-7, and Astralis, number 11, 13-5, and 13-11. Outcome, expected, but it was sad. Average was about 6.25 rounds per map. MLBR finding their way here, after not showing much face into the Tier 1 scene and becoming Budget Furia. Ranked number 45 at the time, losing to Imperial number 34, 13-5, Passion UA number 21, 13-10, and Team Liquid number 15, 15-7, and 17-19. Averaging about 9.75 rounds per map. Outcome, it's kind of expected. Your signed fucking kicker, of all people. Major debutants Paravision, after a crazy ride to stage 3, tripped on themselves and went out 0-3 to Mouse number 4, 16-14, Navi number 7, 13-6, and 3D Max number 13, 16-12, and then 13-8 twice. With a commendable 10.4 rounds on map per average. Of course, because a run from stage 1 to stage 3 is almost too good to be true, one of Astan's elite's coaching tactic is to always remove your worst performing player regardless of the outcome. Why do people fucking like this guy? You're shitting on rookies who have also, while being a coach, with the worst major win of all time. Like, dude, it was a mixture of expected and deserved. Team Liquid embarrassed himself once again by entering this list. Ranked number 14, forgetting about Counter-Strike and losing to Spirit number 6, 13-8, the Mongols number 5, 13-9, and Passion UA 17, 13-11, and 13-10. All while averaging 10.4 rounds per map. Outcome, semi-expected. IEM Cologne. We've made it. Stage 1, the worst ever team to enter the major has stepped into the fray. Ranked number 142, Game & Gladiators, the worst org of all time, enter the scene and barely make the major with a team with an average age of 29. And also said fuck Phelps and benched him before the major. And they signed 34-year-old Fur. They got nuked by BetBoom number 21, 13-4, Big number 39, 13-1, and Heroic number 27, 13-5, and 13-6. With an average of 4 rounds per map, they take the cake for being the worst org in Counter-Strike. Game & Gladiators never come back to Counter-Strike. Sinners went from 4 years in the making to going out in 4 maps. Ranked number 30, they took on FlyQuest number 81, 16-14, NRG number 33, 13-6, and Tyloo number 29, 16-14, and 13-10. Enjoy the money, I guess. With an average of about 11 rounds. Expected? Expected. FlyQuest, roll the clip. Just show the screenshots on the screen. 8 rounds per map on average. Outcome was expected. Gamer Legion went from going to the grand finals of Atlanta to doing nothing. With this one, they tumbled into stage 2 with everything to gain and everything to lose. Ranked number 11 after their grand final appearance in Atlanta with losses to Astralis number 12, 13-4, BetBoom number 17, 13-9, and then of course Bait number 15, 13-11, 8-13, and 13-11. It was a tough effort for sure, but there was also so many easy games you could have won too. With an average of about 8.7 right. They bowed out with nothing much else. Outcome, deserved in a sense, but also kind of sad regardless. Stage 3, all best of 3 games. Paravision once again returned after winning Blast Bounty season and then fall down to earth after bombing out of the major once again. With an 0-3 record and Astan doing his famous tactic of skinning 2 players alive. With losses to 9Z number 15, 1-13, 13-8, and 9-13, Monty number 21, 13-7, 9-13, and 5-13. Legacy number 6, 12-16, and 13-16. Outcome, they shit the bed with an average of 9.3 rounds per map. And lastly, arguably the team that should have gone 0-2 in stage 1 and stage 2 is Bait. They finally lost to Fury number 5, 13-10, 13-4. The Mongols number 9, 16-14, 13-3, and Foot number 13, 13-10, 9-13, and 13-11, with an average of 7.2 rounds won per map. Honestly, if it wasn't for Bait, stage 2 would have had a lot of better outcome. Outcome-wise, they deserved it. And now for the awards ceremony. The best of the worst org goes to NRG and CSGO for having the highest round average of 15.5 rounds. For the worst of the worst in CSGO, Virtus Pro had the lowest round average with a depressing 5-round average. For Counter-Strike 2, the best of the worst goes to the Mongols with a 12.2 average. And for the worst of the worst goes to Game & Gladiators with a 4-round average. Worst overall org goes to Team Liquid with 3 separate appearances. The lowest ranked team to lose is Flipside, who were unranked. But if you want an actual rank, Game & Gladiators ranked number 42. And the highest goes to FaZe Clan with the ranking of number 2. The region to lose the most goes to Europe, with over 21 losses, and America is a close second with 19. The one to lose the least is Asia with 9 times. And what does this mean? Stop putting Asian teams 0-3. Go for America's or the lowest ranked team. And I think CIS had like 11. Alright, and that's the video. Make sure if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if you didn't like the video. If you didn't like the video, tell me why. I want to hear more feedback. But yeah, Thanks for listening in. I know it's been a little long video, not my usual pace, so hope you guys enjoyed. Bye bye.